The play on the field, the courts, and the ice is just one part of sports. Behind every game are the people hard at work so we can enjoy the action. They're the owners, administrators, agents, broadcasters, and promoters who bring the games to life. Meet them when you go behind the game with Patrick Klinger and Bill Robertson. Welcome to Behind the Game. I'm Patrick Klinger, president of Agile Marketing Partners. Alongside me, my co-host, a man who has never met a tee time he didn't love. Bill, I think I'll take a mulligan on that one. Robertson. Hey, Billy, we're going to talk golf today. It's golf season in Minnesota. It doesn't feel like it. Have you had a chance to get out and tee it up yet?
I have not. I'm hopeful of getting out soon and looking forward to playing with you this year, Patrick.
Yeah, once or twice.
A lot of fun. I think we have a great show for all of you today. We have two special guests who are giants in the golf industry in the upper Midwest region. Both are ambassadors of the game of golf and have done so much to promote it, both for boys and girls, and do such a great job. With us today is Phil Anderson, who is the general manager and COO of North Oaks Golf Club. He's sitting to my far left. And then we have Dave Tentis, who's the head golf professional at Troy Burn Golf Club in Hudson, Wisconsin. Gentlemen, welcome to Behind the Game.
Thanks for having us, gentlemen. Absolutely.
This should be a lot of fun because we could probably do this without any notes, having a lot of questions. And it'll be good to get a perspective from both of you. Phil, you're coming from the country club side of the business. Mm-hmm. Dave is coming from the high-end public side of the business. So this should be really special. So first of all, I'm going to ask both of you the first question. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you both landed in the golf industry. Phil, you start.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for having us, gentlemen. Appreciate this. It'll be a fun conversation. I was fortunate enough, I'm back home. I grew up caddying at North Oaks Golf Club, so I started there when I was 12, worked my way up, became the caddy master, worked in the golf shop. I was fortunate to attend New Mexico State University in Las Cruces. After completing that, I moved back to the Twin Cities at Southview Country Club for a number of years, 15 years, and now back at North Oak. So it's been, golf's been amazing to me, and it's just been very fortunate. It's been an incredible game.
So yeah, my background, I started also caddying at Whitebury Yacht Club. And once I earned enough money from the caddying, I went and joined Delwood Hills with the caddy money. And it became pretty proficient at golf, and then ended up going down to University of Houston, playing down there in college, and that was a lot of fun. And tried to play on the PGA Tour for a while. Unfortunately, had a little injury, and then got into the management side of golf and the public side. And I've been at Troy Burn now for like 18 years, so I'm enjoying it, and it's a lot of fun interacting with all the different golfers.
Gentleman, a golf pro once told me, he said, if you don't want to play a lot of golf, get into the golf industry. Is that true?
You know, it's an interesting question. I mean, I think for everyone it's a little bit different. You know, I think ultimately I've always felt it's important to be out there and to play with the membership, to travel with them, to share those experiences. And I think it's really critical because it's a relationship business. I mean, at the end of the day, being out there on the golf course, and I learn a lot more playing golf for 2 hours with somebody for 9 holes than passing in the hallway and asking them how a steak is or how service is. So really that time is valuable for me to spend it on the golf course. I also enjoy playing, and certainly as we play with professionals from the area, Hall of Famers, you learn things. And I think that's, I found it to be critical to continue to play, but it is challenging from a schedule standpoint to make that time, and you really have to set up your calendar and be dedicated to wanting to do that from a playing standpoint. But I certainly love it.
Yeah, in my case, every spring I always say I'm going to play more golf, you know, and I do get out there occasionally with some of the regulars out at Troy Burn, but I really want to play more, you know, because it is like Phil said. I mean, it's so much fun getting out there, seeing them in a different element, and enjoying the time on the golf course. I mean, there's just nothing like it, as you guys can attest, you know, and so yeah, I've already been telling people I'm playing more this year. Last year I think I only played 5 or 6 times, so.
You're still shooting in the 70s.
Well, if I keep the card.
He's going low. Don't let him fool you.
In the upper Midwest, golf is so seasonal. The weather has challenges, as we've seen this year already. What does that mean for both of you in your respective jobs? I mean, it's shrunk. It's not like living in California or Florida where you can play year-round. Tell us what kind of challenges that presents for both of you.
Yeah, it is a challenge. I mean, ultimately, you know, on the private end of things, and really the entire golf industry, we've tried to extend that season. You know, I mean, certainly this year with the start we've had, it's been terrible outside. So we've really looked to indoor golf. You know, simulators inside the golf shop, 2 TrackMan units, trying to keep our members swinging, playing golf. Really 11 months a year. We have a 1-month gap that we're not open where the range or the golf course isn't during the holiday season. But beyond that, we had 70 hours of simulator golf going every single week all winter long. So we're trying to keep everyone engaged, keep everyone swinging. So if you're traveling, or if you're going on a trip, or your members' kids are getting ready for high school golf, college golf, we want to be a destination that it doesn't stop, that you can continue to work on your game. And actually, I've really found from a teaching standpoint, our team, our staff, it's been amazing. I think we can really focus on fundamentals as you work indoors. You know, I think there's a lot of, you get outside in the range, take a lesson, then you're getting ready to go to the tee, and you're like, I don't know if I want to put that to use. So I really think there's some benefits to that component of it, of just focusing on fundamentals, getting your golf swing where you want it. The technology is off the charts. I mean, TrackMan has been a game changer for us, and the members are leaning in. They want to learn the language. They want to understand the numbers. What does that mean? What does it mean for my equipment? So, you know, it's really become, for us, an 11-month of the year operation from swinging the golf club standpoint. And that's been a new change for us.
That's so exciting to hear, Phil. You know, we haven't gotten into the simulators yet out at Troy Byrne, but we were just talking about it yesterday in our staff meeting. And you're seeing so many more clubs that are having this, where they're playing golf almost, 12 months a year. And so I know we need to get involved with that, because like Phil was saying, if you can keep everybody engaged and playing a little bit of golf, and I agree entirely, if you're going to work on your swing, and the fundamentals, to do that in a away from the golf course setting, where you don't have to worry so much about the result, you can really focus on that, and then I think it's easier to segue into the actual playing of the game, with these changes.
Mm-hmm. You know, guys, a couple of years ago, there were those who were saying that golf was a sport that is passé, that it's too hard, it's too long, it's too expensive, millennials won't play it. Then the pandemic happened, and we've seen a boom in golf that we haven't experienced for at least 20 years. What do you see for the future of golf? Are we going to be able to maintain this level of interest?
I think so. Phil and I were talking about it out in the lobby. Just people are, the job situation is so different these days. People can do so much on their phone. They don't have to go into the office. They seem to have more free time, and I think they're utilizing a lot of that time at the golf course. And so I think in that sense, that's going to bode well for the game of golf. And it seems like the younger folks are really enjoying the game. It is a big challenge, and it doesn't always give you what you're hoping for, but that's part of the struggle with the game. And I think you can embrace that and actually enjoy that part of the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Time was probably our number one enemy, 2-3 years ago, and I think certainly what we've experienced during the pandemic has really changed everyone's lives and their work habits. It's amazing. I was just reading an article yesterday talking about working from home. Pre-pandemic was 1 in 347 jobs. Now it's 1 in 7. And really looking at that we're seeing members, at the club doing breakfast, hopping on a Zoom meeting, working from the club for an hour, go hit balls. It's just a totally different experience. Our executives aren't traveling as much. It's just a completely different environment. But I do think one of the key points that you mentioned is the future of the game. And I think as you start looking at the millennials, golf maybe 2 years ago, the mindset was it wasn't cool or it wasn't something, and it forced them to try it. And I think after trying it, it's been an amazing experience. People have enjoyed it. They've wanted to play golf, regardless if it's public, private, semi-private. Resorts are seeing incredible booms. Millennials are coming to the game, and I think they're enjoying the atmosphere of golf. I think it's one of the few things, too, from a socialization standpoint. so many people are yearning for that, and it's interaction on the golf course. It's in the clubhouse afterwards, and it's not in front of your screen. And I think it's one of the more beautiful things about what we're seeing right now. So, yeah, we've been very fortunate. I think it's a tremendous responsibility, though, now going forward. We've got a captive audience. How do you keep that captive? Certainly as an industry, we're talking all the time about what are we going to do to make sure that the families, the new players, women that have come to the game, how do we keep that? Because this is an incredible industry right now.
Well, the game is hard, as I can attest to on a regular basis. Because it's so hard, does that present some challenges for both of you, that people say, I want to come out and play, and they try it, and they watch it on television and see a Tiger Woods, or they see the best players, the Rory McIlroys playing, and go, I can do that, and they get out and they can't. And they say, I don't want to do this any longer. Have you seen much of that in this business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly, as PGA professionals, I know Dave and his team, he's got Brent Snyder, we've got Grant Shafansky, we've got PGA professionals or directors of instruction that do this for a living, to teach the game, and they've never been busier. And ultimately, I think people that are new to the game are leaning in. They want help. They want to find a way to get better. If they do have a tip that works, they come more often. So we have a vested interest as we operate the club to make sure that we're engaging as many people as possible on the instruction end of things, and bring them to the game in fun ways, creative ways. It might be a sip and tip night where we do wine for a half hour and then we do a little golf. We're trying to do anything we can to make sure that we're having fun. We're ultimately in the fun business, and instruction is a big component of it, but making sure that when you come to take that instruction, that it's a rewarding experience.
The other thing that I've noticed, we have a lot of the high schools coming out to play at Troy Byrne, and in talking to the coaches, their numbers are just off the charts. I mean, they're getting so many people wanting to play, that the juniors to join in on the team, and they're having to, have these JV teams that have 30, 40, kids on them. So it is really exciting, with the PGA Junior League. It just expanded. In the Minnesota section here, we have a wonderful tournament program for the juniors. So, I mean, it seems as though the game is really growing and exploding with all kinds of interest.
Right. Phil, you mentioned that you feel the responsibility to keep engaged those people who have come to the game. But like everything, the cost of golf is rising. And we lost, in the last decade, a lot of the lower end golf courses, right? As golf becomes more expensive, how do you keep families, young people, others who are maybe new to the game, coming back to the game?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think certainly, what you just alluded to when you're talking high school teams, JV teams, there's a supply issue right now where there's nowhere to go. That you're out of tee times, you're out of range space. It's an amazing problem that we didn't probably dream of having over the last 15 years. Some of the things we talked about earlier, I am seeing, even with this bad weather spring, there's starting to be a lot more indoor golf facilities that people are going to and utilizing those as they get ready to play the game. But I think some of the work that the Minnesota PGA does, the MGA, some of our organizations, they really try to have a lot of different endeavors of whether it's your free first lesson, whether it's getting out in the community and having different opportunities to learn the game or attend clinics, get up and learn the game. So I think the organizations are taking that very seriously. I know both foundations are working on raising money to provide instruction, to provide equipment for juniors, and a lot of outreach programs to bring more people in the game and have that be a great experience as they are coming to it.
How do you guys feel about events that are 9 holes? In the respect, you see charity events, and I know that's bread and butter for a country club and for a public club, because you do make a lot of money, and the food and beverage and the catering piece can be very lucrative over time. But as you go to these events, you're seeing more and more where it's pretty much a commitment almost all day and part of your evening. Yeah. And I've talked to both of you before about a little of this. Just thinking about it, some people say, well, maybe golf should be 9 holes, and maybe these events should be something like that. What are your thoughts on it?
Actually, haven't thought about that, Bill, but it does make a lot of sense because people they do in some cases on these charity fundraisers they will pay or spend 7-8 hours at the golf course. That is a very long day, but I think 9 holes. I'm actually a 9-holer now. I go out and play 9 holes more than I play 18. So it does work into someone's schedule a lot more conveniently and. I actually have not. I've not scheduled a fundraiser where it's only 9 holes. It would be something to throw out there.
Yeah, we're doing one of our first ones with 9 holes this May with Lindsey Whalen and the U of M basketball team. So they're doing a 9-hole event and really trying to make it a fun event, have her speak on the back end, but from a time commitment standpoint, it makes sense. So we're starting to see some organizations dabble in it, and we had a little bit of an epiphany looking at it. We had a rain-delayed golf event a year ago, and this organization had a rain delay. Everyone came into the bar, had a great time, and it ended up being a 9-hole event. They're like, I think we want to do that again next year.
Yeah.
So there is something to that, I think, just from a time standpoint, and get to the back end of the evening where people have baseball games and things to get to. So definitely for the right organizations, depending on what the mission and if it's entertainment as a whole, I think that's going to work in some situations for sure.
Gentlemen, given the growing impact of climate change, is there pressure on clubs today to be more environmentally friendly than maybe they were a couple of decades ago?
I know at our golf course, the superintendent came to me. I think it was about 8 years ago, and he had to put for the irrigation system to monitor the water usage. The Wisconsin DNR wanted to know how many gallons of water we're putting out over the summer. So certainly water, especially west of the Mississippi, there's so little water out west. So less grass that you need to water, and I know there's been programs out in California and in through the desert where if they basically eliminate grass, that they need to water and turn it into some gravels and different non-maintenance. They're getting rewarded with some credits on that. But I definitely see some things that we need to address. I personally don't like to see people like hitting the golf ball far off the tee. I understand that, but to me, it's a better game if the ball goes shorter, for a lot of environmental reasons. Water, chemicals, pace of play. If you have a shorter course, it's going to play faster. So I actually like the ball going a little bit shorter. Of course, the manufacturer is going to hate me for saying that, but and I'd like to see the ball curve a little more too, because for me, I like the fact that the ball can go a little sideways.
You know how to curve the ball.
Yeah.
What do you think, Phil?
The environment's incredibly important. I mean, we are focused on it. We've spent the last 2 years working with Lehman Design Group on our golf course, and we're talking about sustainability. And ultimately, there's a lot of upward pressure in kind of the northeast metro area with White Bear Lake and the aquifer. And so we're making a big investment here starting this fall with a new irrigation system. It has a lot more heads out there, but a lot more precision in the throw. And we ultimately, we've basically been able to figure out that in a full cycle, so on a given night in the middle of a drought, we think that we could see some significant numbers as far as the number of gallons of water we put on. The company that's come in to help us with that has let us know that they think it could be as much as almost 80,000 gallons a night that we would save with water, with precision throw. So I think that, and then chemicals, the other component. So we're switching grass types, A, from a performance standpoint, B, from an environmental standpoint, trying to get to bent grass. Bent grass requires a lot less chemical, a lot less water. So it's one of our core values at the club that we're really focused on, and we're trying to get ahead of it, because I do think as we continue down the line, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I truly believe water, even with 10,000 lakes, is going to be a topic that will be a discussion.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Despite Tiger Woods probably being the most influential athlete right now in sports, arguably, diversity is a big issue in the game of golf. How can the game, and I know the PGA commissioner has talked a little bit about this, but in your minds, you see it at the grassroots level, how can we get more people of color to play the game? Because there seems to be that piece is missing, even at the professional level. There's more and more influx of people from Europe and Asia playing golf, but in the United States, it doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, I know out of Troy Byrne, Brent Snyder is our instructor out there, and Brent and I have done a couple of free clinics and invited, basically the general public, sent out an email blast and tried to get some people out to play, from the general population that maybe, they're not exposed to the game of golf, and that's been real successful. Just getting, we had like 50 kids come out. And that was good. We basically went over the game with them, did a little clinic and so forth. Have you guys done anything out there, Phil?
Yeah, it's been a big initiative, I'd say, on more of a PGA standpoint. The First Tee, MGA, there's a lot of really amazing programs that are being funded that people are paying attention to bring more people to the game. And I think it's an important topic, and it's something that we need to continue to work on and grow on going forward. But we've seen really large strides in really diversity inclusion. It's one of our pillars with PGA Hope. We see a lot of, I think when you talk about PGA Tour, the diversity inclusion component of, on a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, doing clinics, bringing, bussing in, doing anything you can to bring people to the game that normally hadn't been introduced to it. I also think on the workforce end of things, as we look at our clubs, our facilities, anything that we can do from a diversity inclusion standpoint is going to be very powerful. It really will have, I think, a long-term impact on where the game goes and how it continues to grow.
Your jobs are much more than just golf. You're selling equipment, you're managing staff, you're coordinating events, weddings, and all kinds of different activities, charitable golf tournaments. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have in your roles?
I know for me out at Troy Byrne at the public golf course, just staffing on the beginning of the season and in the fall. We actually closed down for a few months in the middle of the winter, unlike Phil, because our restaurant, we just don't, we don't have a big restaurant that serves a lot of people in the wintertime. But yeah, so it's just finding that staff. Right now it's really hard. I have high school and college kids, and they're still in their schooling right now. So there's just a lot more to do for the salaried people, during the shoulder season, early spring, late fall.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, certainly the last year, staffing has been the number one issue. We've been very fortunate to have some levers at the club that, to bring team members in. We've got a scholarship program that's been incredibly powerful, where we really try to invest in our team members beyond just coming to work for us. We want you to be a part of our team. We're going to invest in you, invest in your future, try to make networking opportunities with members and really shape them through their career. So it's more than just coming to work for us at the club, but staffing is a huge issue. I think the other big issue that all clubs are working on, and it doesn't matter what sector you're in, is just the capital component. I mean, to run a golf club, to the irrigation system, these are multi-million-dollar investments. So trying to figure out the business plan to support kind of your 10-year capital and where things go, and how the club's going to operate with future elements, whether you're adding simulators or adding a new amenity. It's almost an arms race on the capital end of things. Things are healthy right now, but there's definitely upward pressure to make sure that you've taken care of infrastructure, your obligatory capital first, and then really your goal is to get to aspirational capital, where you can add some different components that are going to bring more people to your business. That's a challenge.
We only have a few more minutes left, but you both have seen special moments in golf as players, and you watched events. I want to know, and I think our viewers would love to know, what are the one or two mistakes that an amateur golfer that you continually see makes, and what they should be really thinking about? Is it getting to the club 15 minutes early and putting or chipping, or should they be on the range for an hour? I mean, I get this question in my mind as I'm driving to both of your fine courses and thinking, how am I going to do this? And I'm have my sport coat on, I got to take it off, and I'm changing on the fly. And sometimes it gets to be a lot. But maybe you guys have a couple tips for our viewers, not as many golf tips, but just about what you would do arriving to the club and how you prepare yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a 1-2 combo. It would be certainly reach out to your local PGA professional and take a golf lesson. I think that's number one. I really fundamentally believe in that. I think being a student of the game and just trying to learn more, improve, if that's your goal, I would say that's step one. Once you've done that, one of the things that I think is incredibly important is getting the right equipment. So all of the manufacturers have, all of the clubs are interchangeable now. They're different lengths, different weights. Going through and getting a fitting for your golf clubs, it might be the single most important tip that I would give you. I just think I feel passionately about it, and I've seen some amazing turnarounds where you could have somebody that's misfit for equipment that's 7-irons hitting at 132 yards, and now you give them the right fitting and it's 180-yard 7-iron. So I really am passionate about getting the right equipment. Yes, it's an investment. Yes, it's some time, but the dividends are amazing.
I like that, Phil. That's great. I mean, the game can definitely get a little bit easier with the right equipment. One of the things I see a lot at the public golf course, people do come in really late, really hot, and they're running to the tee. But the thing that I tell people that help them most, and it gets into a little bit of the instruction, but it's basically the think zone and the play zone. So when you have a shot, let's say you're 150 yards from the first green, and you do all your thinking behind the ball. That's the think zone. You're looking at your lie, you're looking at the wind, you're figuring out where you want to hit it on the green. All your conscious thought is back there. As you approach the ball, you're entering the play zone. In the play zone, all you really want to do is get the face aimed at your target, set your body around the face, and swing. You don't want to be thinking, because the thought is what creates problems. So you get up there and just swing. So think zone, play zone. Don't be that golfer over the ball trying to solve problems over the ball.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Thinking might be the only place, the golf course might be the only place where I do any thinking, and I do way too much of it. Really quickly, we're down to less than 2 minutes. Dave, you played in the Walker Cup team, you played at Augusta in the Masters, you played PGA Championships, I think at US Open as well. What was the most nerve-wracking moment you had?
Yeah, boy. I was pretty, I was pretty calm actually, especially at Augusta. It was probably at the Walker Cup, because we were doing really well, and the locals, we played over in Liverpool, England, and the locals didn't really want us to win, obviously, and so they were shouting in your backswing and so forth. So it got a little bit tense, but it was really fun. Normally, I always tell people, take a deep breath and just tell yourself, you're okay, you can do this.
Phil, any special memories for you?
Yeah, I mean, certainly playing with Dave. That'd be a special number right in and of itself, certainly. I play on a lot of the local events here, whether it's Tate Mark, State Open, Minnesota PGA or CPC events. And I just love competing. It's so fun to certainly play with their professionals in our section. We've got a lot of great people that are involved with it, and I really enjoy it.
That's fantastic. Phil Anderson, Dave Tennis, and Billy Robb. Hey, thank you all for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Billy and I are passionate golfers. We're anxious to get out on the links as soon as possible. Yes. More than anxious.
Absolutely.
And thank you all for watching Behind the Game. We'll see you again next month.